Hey everyone, it's me, Lone. Hope you're doing all right. Can you hear it in my voice? I woke up at 6 a.m. for this video before work to get it out. I'm going to try my best to do it, but there is so much exciting news happening right now with the Fallout franchise, and specifically the TV show being made by Amazon Prime Video. There was an official image shared by Prime Video the other day. We're going to be talking about that. But then today, Bethesda was like, you know what? As part of our Fallout retrospective 25th anniversary celebrations, we're going to actually show a little bit of footage of behind the scenes on set footage of the TV show. Freaking, I'm so excited, man. All right, so I've got my notes in front of me. We're going to go off the cuff. Again, give your boy a like. I'd appreciate it. I'm tired and I'd appreciate your love. Let's talk about the tweet. This tweet was by Prime Video and Kilter Films. It's like a collaboration tweet. I didn't know these were actually possible, but there are two accounts in this tweet, and they tweeted the following. Congratulations and happy 25th birthday. We made something special for the occasion. Hashtag Fallout, hashtag Fallout 25, and they tagged Bethesda Game Studios, Bethesda Fallout, and Kilter Films. As you can see, this is the very first official, this is the very first image that we've seen of the Fallout Amazon TV show. And my God, does it look beautiful. Okay, we're actually on set here. This seems to be like actual footage of the show. They're in a vault, as you can see. It's Vault 33, judging by the vault suits that they're wearing, or the jumpsuits. There's three people looking at someone. Either, I can't tell if they're entering or exiting. I'm going to assume that that person is exiting. Can you kind of see as well on the floor? There's someone just dead. If you zoom in on the left hand side there, kind of in the middle, there's just someone's legs there. So clearly something has happened, right? But if you want to deep dive into this image a little bit more, what you can see is that obviously it's Vault 33. We've talked about it based on the leaks, and I'm not going to be showing those images. I promised Amazon that I wouldn't show those leaks anymore. But there were leaked images on set showing Vault 32, right? And based on that, I was like, you know what? And several other people said this as well. But because it's Vault 32 and the numbering of the vaults in the Fallout franchise, this series very much seems to be taking place on the West Coast, right? This just backs it up, right? Because now this is Vault 33. And again, we've never seen Vault 32 or 33 in the Fallout franchise. But by the numbering, both of these vaults are very, very, very likely going to be on the West Coast. Possibly in the New Vegas area. We don't know that one for sure. But this just backs it up. This just backs it up. That like, this is, I cannot believe this is where the TV show is going to be taking place. I talked about this in my last video. It's very interesting that it's going to be here and not on the East Coast, where typically, you know, Todd and the Bethesda Game Studios teams have stuck with their games. Like, they've wanted to do stuff on the East Coast, you know, and then they had Obsidian do Fallout New Vegas on the West Coast, obviously the original games on the West Coast. So it's interesting that the TV show is going to be on the West Coast as well. My speculation was that I think Todd and the team likes the idea of this because it kind of gives the Amazon Prime Video team a bit more creativity, a bit more freedom to not do what they want per se. They're obviously working within strict parameters here, but they have a little bit more flexibility to tell the stories that they want to if they're on the West Coast. Because it seems very clear that Todd and the BGS team, when it comes to their Fallout games, they do want to stick on the East Coast, the Capital Wasteland, Boston, etc., right? So that's the direction they want to go with the games. And then they're like, you know what? You can have a little bit more freedom on the West Coast. Tell your story in here, whether it's in Nevada, wherever it might be. You can have that. I love that idea, and I think it's gonna probably led to a better TV show. It's gonna make us very excited as well, especially for fans of the original games and of New Vegas. Seeing something set out in the Midwest or on the West Coast, freaking awesome. And we're not done yet, all right? Because this footage from today, it gives those vibes straight away. So this was the official image shared. Again, there's not much else to go off of. It's clear that we're going to be, again, visiting multiple vaults as part of the series. Vault 32, Vault 33, potentially more. So whatever the story is, maybe it's revolving around those vaults. Maybe they're just visiting them for whatever reason. But this image, when I first saw it, I was like, you know what? It seems like this is the starting point. Like, if this is the first image they're sharing officially of the series, this could possibly be the first episode. And this could possibly be the launching point of the entire story in this TV show. Potentially the person or the people that we're looking at here are the main characters. They start in the vault and then they go off to explore. That's the sense I'm getting. I could be wrong. But anyways, that's the image. Let me know what you think. Let's move on to today's footage. So as I said, Bethesda has been doing a lot of Fallout 25 anniversary celebrations. They've also been doing this really cool, go check it out on their YouTube channel, Bethesda Softworks. They've been doing this really cool Fallout retrospective series where there's a bunch of videos talking about, you know, them getting into the Fallout franchise with Fallout 3 and the behind the scenes of VATS and the color green, and they've gotten together Tim Kaine and the original creators of Fallout to be part of these videos. They talked about playing with friends with 76 and Fallout 4. It's a really cool series. But then there's this one video that's called, I think it's called Beyond the Games. I gotta check this. Look, I'm so excited. I wanna check this live on video. This one is called officially, because they released like 4 different videos. Fallout Retrospective, Boston, VATS, Why We Love Fallout, and then Beyond the Game. So the one that you want to watch, Beyond the Game, linked in the description below. This is where they actually talk about the Fallout TV series. It's very exciting stuff. So you had Todd Howard featured there, you had Tim Kaine, and you also had Jonathan Nolan, who of course is going to be the executive producer and director, at least for the first episode of the Fallout TV show. So here's what was said in that video. I want to summarize it for you. First of all, Todd talked a little bit about the future of Fallout and again confirmed there are going to be games in the future. We knew that. Todd has already said there's going to be a Fallout 5. When it's going to take place, I don't know. I just want another game. But anyways, it's gonna happen in the future in some stage, right? But also in the near future, they said the near future, there's going to be a TV show being made by Amazon Prime Video. Again, we knew that. We don't know the release date yet, but near future, this suggests to me, especially because it seems like, you know, filming has already started taking place. There's already been sets built for it. Possibly we might see something next year, mid to late next year, or maybe the year after if they want to kind of build it next year and then release it in the year. Well, what year are we in, Blade? So it would be released in 2024, maybe? I don't know. Either 2023 or 2024 is my guess. And Todd talked about how a lot of movie producers had talked to Todd over the past 10 years saying, hey, you know, we really want to do a Fallout movie. We think it's a great fit. And every time Todd said no, because he believed, whether it was the people asking him or whether it was because it was the fact that it was a movie, Todd said that it wasn't the right fit. And I understand that. Like, if you were to ask me, you know, Johnny, would you prefer a TV show for Fallout or a movie? I actually am leaning towards a TV show. There's more time to build out characters. There's more time for world building. And movies, it depends how you do them, obviously, but they often feel rushed, especially when they're done, you know, by Netflix or Amazon or whatever. Like when you have a TV show, it allows the franchise to breathe. So that is always where my preference would be. Don't get me wrong. If there was a Fallout movie, I'd watch it, especially if it was a trilogy. It would need to be a trilogy though. But the problem is if the first movie fails and they don't do one, whatever. Like I was hopeful on the Assassin's Creed movie, if you remember that. I was really hopeful for that. I enjoyed it, but probably critically it didn't do the best. And we might not see another Assassin's Creed movie. So that's why I was worried about a Fallout movie and that kind of repeating itself. So that's why a TV show, I'm very happy about that. And we know that the video game TV shows have been doing pretty decently. Witcher, etc. They're getting more seasons. So I'm pretty hopeful that the Fallout Amazon TV show does well in the first season and gets additional seasons. That's why I think the TV show's better. More footage for us, right? And they were talking about, I think this was Istvan Peli, was talking about visually how they're really assured about what Amazon is doing with the TV show. We've seen a lot of these you know, leaked set photos from the TV show, and it looks so faithful to the Fallout franchise. So I truly believe what that they are saying here. He says that Amazon have really stuck closely with the original Fallout's vision and the designs of the world building in the games. It has been pretty much perfectly translated to on screen, and that's reassuring for them. It's reassuring for me, man. Like that sounds perfect. Again, what we've seen of the power armor and the onset, everything looks legitimate. Like it's like plucked straight out of the games. They haven't taken too much creative freedom or license to do what they want in the Fallout franchise. And I suspect a lot of that as well is Todd, especially Todd, because he's the exec producer. But Todd saying, you know what, like we need to be careful here. We need to make sure that this looks like Fallout, that it feels like Fallout. You don't want to engage the wrath of the Fallout franchise. We're a friendly bunch most of the time. But when something happens to something that we love, like the Fallout franchise, and it's butchered, there might be a little bit of backlash. So I think Todd is really making sure that the team is being careful. But also Jonathan Nolan, like, and we'll talk about this later, he seems like a fan. He seems like, you know what, like, no, we need to take care with this franchise. A lot of people care about it. We need to make sure that the on-set dressing, that the things that we're building, the power armor, that it all looks good. It needs to look like the games, and it damn well does. Okay, so great. So Todd goes on to talk about how he's always wanted to work with Jonathan Nolan, specifically big fan of the movies that he's worked on and the TV shows. He specifically name dropped Lisa Joy, who's of course going to be involved with the Amazon TV show as well. And Westworld, I think the Westworld, I haven't watched it, but I've heard great things from it. The fact that they've worked on Westworld, Todd trusts them. I trust them now. Let's talk. All right. So, and then they connected. Todd and Jonah connected. Jonah was a huge fan. That he was ready for it. And judging by what he said before, like Jonah started playing Fallout with Fallout 3. Possibly he played the previous ones, but he named dropped Fallout 3. And that's my game. You know that's my game. So the fact that he's a Fallout 3 fan, I'll talk about this in a second, all right? I'm jumping ahead. Anyways, so there was a funny skit. Speaking of Jonathan Nolan, there was this funny skit as part of this video where he was kind of like asked by someone on set, hey, have you heard of Fallout? And he's playing dumb. He's like, oh, I haven't really heard of Fallout. What are you talking about? And then this dude on set comes to him in power armor and hands him a Nuka-Cola, and he starts drinking it. It was very funny, very tongue-in-cheek. But that's what the skit was. Now, in terms of the power armor, judging by the chest plate and the positioning of the handles, to me that looked like T60 power armor, right? It didn't look like T45 or T51, but it looked like T60 power armor. So very, very cool. Someone correct me. I can guarantee you someone's going to correct me if it's a different type of power armor, but it looked like T60 to me, damn it. So he was handed that. I think this is the power armor as well that we saw in those leaked set photos too. But it looks legitimate based on what we saw. We obviously didn't see the full thing, but I trust that it looks good for the rest of it. He was handed Nuka-Cola, as I said. And then, you know, he was like, oh, yeah, I've heard of Fallout. So he said something like, it's post-apocalyptic, humorous, dark, bleak, brilliantly written, annoyingly playable. It's like the perfect description of Fallout. He knows what he's talking about. It seems like he knows what he's talking about. He said that he started with Fallout 3, which I love. And I hope, my personal hope is that he said, you know, dark and bleak, and he started playing with Fallout 3. I hope that influences him, because you know that I love the kind of the bleakness of Fallout 3. The fact, I think in terms of what Fallout game feels the most post-apocalyptic and which one absolutely nailed the feel of a desolate wasteland, I think that was Fallout 3. So while of course there needs to be humorous aspects of the TV show, that is Fallout, I really hope that darkness in Fallout 3 and that kind of desolation bleeds over into the Fallout TV show. There needs to be a little bit about that. I don't want this to be like Marvel's recent efforts in TV shows. I love Marvel, don't get me wrong, but they're so comedic. They're a little bit over the top. Of course, Fallout has that as an undertone, but it is a post-apocalyptic franchise. So let's not lose sight of that. And I hope that, you know, Jonathan Nolan's experience with Fallout 3 allows that to translate over. And they were definitely on set. The main thing is that they were definitely out on set. And again, because it's Vault 32, Vault 33, likely out in the Midwest, it feels like they were in a wasteland, in a desert. It feels like they were in the Midwest, possibly somewhere in Nevada. It's very difficult to make out a lot of, you know, the symbols and all the other on-screen footage, because they were doing this intentionally. They kind of like were going in and out of focus with this behind-the-scenes footage. So it was difficult to make out some other stuff. But just based on everything that we've seen, man, this thing looks awesome. Jonathan Nolan looks like legitimately passionate about the Fallout franchise. Again, I think Todd, rightly so, is being protective of it, making sure that they get it right. But I actually, like, I trust that Amazon is getting it right. Now, I know there's been with Amazon, okay, I'm going to mention it, there's been a lot of stuff with Rings of Power, right, and how they didn't stick to the original, you know, literature by J.R.R. Tolkien. But, like, there's a bit of history behind that. Like, the Tolkien estate didn't sell the entirety of the series and the books, like the Silmarillion and like the First Age. They didn't actually sell them the rights sell Amazon the rights to that stuff. So that's why Amazon, from my understanding, had to take more creative liberties with the Rings of Power storyline and Sauron and Anatar and all. Like, it was very different, right? And I know a lot of people are looking at that being like, all right, Amazon, like, you're getting me worried about Fallout. I genuinely think that is a one-off thing because of the situation with the rights of the Lord of the Rings franchise. I don't think we should look at that and be worried about the Fallout TV show. I'm hopeful. I know I'm being fanboying right now, but I'm hopeful that they're going to get this right. The sets look legitimate. What they're saying looks legitimate. We're obviously going to have to wait and see till we see who the characters are, what the storyline is, what they actually do. And perhaps some of you out there, especially because a lot of you are fans of New Vegas and the West Coast storyline of Fallout, you might be even more protective of that, right? Because like that's where the Fallout franchise started. So arguably, they might even have to be even more careful telling the story on the West Coast. But that's everything from today's footage and the image and everything. I know I did this in one take, but I'm just so excited I couldn't stop talking about it. Let me know what you think in the comments below. And until next time, this has been the Lone Vault Wanderer. Please take care of yourselves, and would you kindly keep fighting the good fight.